We can accept or reject the way we were treated, but until we heal the wounds of our past, we will continue to bleed. In early 2001, my life was pretty good. My career was doing well. I owned my own home. I was traveling, pretty social. I was also turning 40 the end of that year. And I was asking myself lots of questions about life and what does it all mean? And I wanted to know more, discover more, and accomplish more. I suppose you can call it soul searching. Leave it to the universe. One day I was laying down and going through all the TV stations, channels, and I stumbled upon VH1 documentary about Madonna and her new CD, Ray of Light. I'm a huge fan of the CD and of her. And they were talking about her new evolved self, her new yoga practice, her new spiritual path. She's been studying Kabbalah. And it was also, they interviewed her teacher, Eitan Yordani. In March of that year, I went to New York for a 3-day party weekend. And on the way back to LA, I was sitting down and who walks by me to go to the bathroom? Eitan Yordani. So I got his attention and I asked him if he was the gentleman from the documentary, and he said yes. And I asked him, where is this place, Kabbalah Center? He told me it's on Robertson and Olympic. Sometime, I believe it was August, I called to find out how I can get more information. And they have told me there's an open house coming up, which I went to. Who was giving the open house? Eitan Yordani. And the introduction was very intriguing. It's very, they don't really refer to it as self-help, but it was in that direction. And the first course is 10 weeks at $130, can't beat that. So I signed up, and the first class was in September, and my first class was the night of 9/11. I started in Los Angeles from 2001 to 2015, and then Miami to 2016, and then Boca Raton to 2018. Meet the family. Philip Berg was the dean of the Kabbalah Center. His original name was Shraga Guru Berg, and then he became the Rav Berg. He was an insurance salesman living in New York before he met his wife, Karen. According to the Kabbalah Center, Karen was the reason they wanted to bring Kabbalah to the masses. Karen might have taken Philip Berg out of his old Orthodox background, but there's nothing unorthodox about the Kabbalah Center or its teachings. Their firstborn, Yehuda Berg, and their second son, Michael Berg, were born in the system. The rest is history. They all live next to each other in Beverly Hills, California, and they claim these homes were gifted to them.
Take a look at leaders like Gandhi or Mother Teresa. They lived at this such high level that it had nothing to do with just them. Because some people can evolve to when they're dominant, then they become like this orange to where it's just about them and their tribe, their inner circle. Everybody else go fuck themselves. They can come across like they're about others, but they're only about others if the others are in their tribe, doing something for them.
Classes did come with very sexy titles, anything to bring in the masses, to be honest. The first few weeks of the 10 weeks are very light, very spiritual-ish, very basic, very igniting. And then when the 10 weeks are over, you sign up for Kabbalah too, and that's when they get into the nitty-gritty, especially like the high holidays, especially if there's one coming up, like Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur, Shabbat, and of course you need to sign up, you need to go to these things, which they usually are out of town, gotta get a hotel, and travel, etc. What they don't tell you is that everything about the Kabbalah Center is Orthodox Judaism. If anyone tells you differently, it's not true. They might sugarcoat it a little bit in the beginning. They might even say it's not Jewish or it's not Judaism. It's absolutely, in my opinion, 1000% Orthodox Judaism. Holidays like Rosh Hashanah became like a rock concert, and Yehuda Berg, the firstborn, became a rock star. You might have seen or heard of the red string. The red string, gosh, it is probably, in my opinion, one of the best, most genius branding idea I have witnessed. And I've been around lots of geniuses in the branding department. It became a major tool for everyone to participate in, under the impression, or under the understanding that having the red string on will save me from getting the evil eye, from saving me from judging others, which not the case, which people would wait in line for hours to have their teacher, he or she, put one on for them. And then of course they feel, wow. I felt wow. Yeah.
You've seen it on Madonna, Britney, Demi, Ashton, and many other celebrities. It's called the red string. It's for protection against negativity and to remind us to share more and care more. The red string was celebrated at China Grill in South Beach. The site was the PSTD launch party for the Red String book written by Yehuda Berg. The party was hosted by trend tracker Tara Galani along with English Sarah, Tommy Pooch, and Alan Ross. Yehuda Berg tells us that the red string is not just for celebrities, it's for everyone. It's not just for celebrities. That is why I wrote the book.
The Kabbalah Center became a money-making machine. The more they asked, the more we paid. Humans love consumptions. The definition of a spiritual person?
You know what's spiritual consciousness? And that's the only thing that makes a person spiritual? Is that he's constantly looking for the non-comfortable realities in his life. That's it. That's a spiritual consciousness. And the day that you stopped wanting, desiring, and craving the uncomfortable situations, you stop being spiritual.
I took that description, advice, understanding that in order for me to be spiritual, I need to seek difficulties, I need to seek discomfort, I need to seek hardship. And so I did. I began to look for the difficulties. I began to look for the challenges. I did not look for harmony, flow, ease. The yogis and the people that go up in mountains and meditate, that's not spiritual, according to my understanding. And for the basic law of spirituality, basic law of attraction, likes attracts likes. So by me doing that, all I've attracted are challenges, misfortunes, difficulties, and they kept on coming and coming and coming. And in my little brain, because my life became very, very difficult and everything became upside down. And at the time, it seemed like there was no way out. And when I would ask, why is my life becoming now upside down? Often the answer would be, I am not praying enough. I'm not tithing enough. I'm not volunteering enough. I'm not doing enough. I mean, from you need to go to the snow and roll naked, you need to do Passover properly. You need to do, it's always the case that I'm not doing enough. And based on that, my life became an absolute chaos.
Are there rules about sex?
There's rules about which shoe you're supposed to tie first, just to give you an idea.
So there are the obvious rules, like, sign at the front door, don't bring in food during Passover. And there's the unadvertised rules, but they're very understood and they're very implemented. For example, if I am a student and dating someone that's not studying, that's not going to be very supported by my teacher. I can't go to the teacher for advice. If I am Jewish and dating somebody that's not Jewish, I will also not get the support or the advice or the words of wisdom from my teacher. If I'm Jewish and dating someone that's Jewish, but they're not coming to the Kabbalah Center, I will also not get the support that I would need or the advice or anything that a teacher would provide. Gays are tolerated. They're welcome to come. Their money's welcome. Their energy's definitely welcome. But we gays or lesbians cannot get married at the Kabbalah Center. When you have a teacher, you would need to ask your teacher if you're gonna sell your home or not sell your home. If you're gonna move, is the new place good for you or not good for you? If you're gonna date somebody, is that person good for me or not good for me? These are all understood rules. They're not in stone, but if you're gonna have a teacher and if you're gonna be in a relationship with your teacher that you're gonna follow, these rules better be implemented. So who are those teachers and what are their credentials and where they come from? The majority, I would say 99% of the teachers did not finish high school or go to college. I know there's maybe less than a handful teachers that went to the university. All of them went to the Israeli army, but the majority did not go to college. They're not certified coaches. They're not therapists. They're not relationship expert or trained to be. They're not marriage counselors. Yet they do practice as if they are. They do give advice on relationships, on marriages, on businesses. Ronnie Susan moved to the LA Center around 2004, I believe. At the time, I needed a new teacher. He needed students, so we met. And around our second meeting or so, he said to me he would help me with my business, make more money. And I was like, great. And the idea was for me to visualize how much money I want to make the following year and take that number, calculate the 10% tithing that I would be normally giving, and write him a check at the time or very soon for the 10%. And he would help me manifest the income that I would have made based on the 10%. I wrote the check, the 10%. About less than a week later, he was moved to the Dallas Center, and I've never heard from him again. In 2010, I was assigned one of the most beloved teachers at the Kabbalah Center. It's very common at the Kabbalah Center for students to adopt a Hebrew name. So the girls would adopt names like Miriam, Rachel, Sarah, and the guys would adopt names like Joseph, more older names like Yehuda. Shimon. That was pretty common. Late 2010, I got a call from my teacher to come to the office, which made me very wary. That doesn't happen very often. And when I went, the teacher told me that teacher had a dream. And in the dream, there was this older man with a beard, and that person told the teacher that if you want to help Sam with his life, he needs to change his name. So I'm hearing this and I'm getting very nervous. And the teacher says to me, have you looked into your Hebrew name? And I'm like, no, I love my name. The devoted student that I was and the addict that I was said yes. And the good news is I got to pick the name myself. And I picked the name Joseph. I told all my work colleagues to start calling me Joseph. I changed all my social media names. I changed my email addresses. I changed everything. I did not do it legally, thank God. And I did it under the prophecy that it would help my life improve. That did not turn out to be the case. Tithing according to the Kabbalah Center. According to the teaching at the Kabbalah Center, with one of the most devoted teachers, that anything less than 10% would be considered invalid.
Former followers claim the Kabbalah Center often pressures people to spend money on Kabbalah products and Kabbalah classes and to donate to the Kabbalah Center, something the Bergs deny.
If we ever hear that an employee or a volunteer even, or a teacher pushes somebody, it is completely against what the center is about, because the basic tenet of the Kabbalists, my father and his teachers, are that there can be no coercion.
That is simply not true. My second year at the Kabbalah Center, I had just sold my house. And my teacher then was Chaim Solomon. And he came to me after I sold my house. He said, did you sell your house? I said, yes. He goes, well, now can you give a donation for the Zohar project? It's one of their projects that they always work on, which is basically print books called the Zohar to sell or to give away. I was like, well, how much is that? He said $25,000. I'm like, I was too new and I wasn't devoted then to do it. So I did not do it.
But again, a BBC hidden camera exposed something different. They taped some employees there really pushing a hard sell on somebody who said they couldn't afford to go to this Israel.
So to all the volunteers of the Zohar Project, I want to first of all thank you for the time and the effort and energy that you're putting into the Zohar Project. You can come to me for a blessing, I can give it to you. I can't tell you if it's going to help. But if you do something for the Zohar, to spread the light of the Zohar in the world, that's where your blessings are going to come.
The teaching and the understanding that if I give, that's what I'll get the blessing. That's what I'll get the reward. But I have to give to the Zohar Project. I have to give to the Kabbalah Center. That is where the blessings are at. When I met my teacher at the first meeting, teacher says to me, I have to warn you, I am the Taliban of the Kabbalah Center. And I thought it was such a rebel definition, and I actually got turned on. I said, great, bring it. What is a Taliban? A Taliban is not a country, it's not a religion, it's not a citizenship. It's an idea. It's a fanatic idea, fanatic person or a group that believe their way, their idea, their fanatic idea is the only way to cure the world, and they will go at any cost to defend their cause. That is a Taliban.
So part of your responsibility is to create more of a network of people. If you're online, do it there. If you're not, you're whatever network you have. You know, you guys have an easier job to bring people than us. So when we do have big events, I'll come, Karen will come, Michael, we're all gonna come. As we come, you just sent out a message and there's 5,000, 10,000 people there.
Yehuda Berg, the firstborn, the hierarchy, would preach often to the students that it is our responsibility to go out and recruit people so we can bring in more people so the Kabbalah Center can grow. The idea behind immortality, that Philip Berg would teach that humans can overcome death and humans can conquer the angel of death, which basically will become immortal. The Kabbalah Center teaches that righteous souls like Abraham, Sarah, King David, Joseph the Righteous, all these people, that when they die, their body does not disintegrate. Even though that theory was never proven and it was never tested, as far as I know. Here's the catch. The Kabbalah Center believes and teaches and endorses that Philip Berg and Karen Berg are righteous souls. And also, I'm sure their children are considered righteous souls, which by definition means when they pass away, their body will never disintegrate, ever. The irony is that the man that was teaching and endorses immortality, and his wife as well, they both did not make it past the age of 85. When Philip Berg got sick and passed away, it was upsetting. I'm not gonna deny that. So I went to a teacher, not mine, and I asked the question, how could this man die and get sick? I mean, he's been preaching for years about immortality. And the answer that I got was, well, you don't think his death is ordinary, do you? Like, I don't know. And the teacher says to me, he died because of taking all the burden and the negativity of humanity and all the people. That's why he died. I was like, oh, okay. And later on, as I'm doing the research for this, I realized there's another famous person that passed away for the same cause. His name is Jesus Christ. Who is it? The IRS, open up. 2018, there was a caravan of teachers and staff that walked out and left, and there was a lawsuit on behalf of some of the staff that was filed in New York against Kabbalah Center and naming Karen Berg, Yehuda Berg, and Michael Berg. When teachers leave the center, they can leave in two ways. One way is that they can leave regardless how long they've been there, whether it's 5 years or 30 years, without getting a nickel. And by doing so, they are free to teach any way they want or they like. They're free to talk as they want to talk, and do whatever they need to do. There's another way to leave the center, which is by getting a severance package, getting X amount of dollars. I don't know how it's calculated. And in return, they cannot solicit or talk to any of the students that go to the Kabbalah Center, and they cannot teach Kabbalah. It's basically a don't compete clause, which I understand don't compete for businesses when a business buys a business for so many years and then the business can start again. That's very normal. But what I never understood, why would a spiritual place have a don't compete clause? And why would a spiritual place dictate to where the students can and cannot go after the teachers leave? You're probably wondering by now, why did I not run as fast as I can and as far as I can? And the answer is, it's not that simple. I was way too involved, and I was way too addicted. And what mattered the most to me, the only thing that mattered, was my relationship with my teacher. Everything else, everything that I've heard and I witnessed and I went through, I just turned a blind eye on, and for that, I am really sorry. I spent the next 8 years with the same teacher, the one I trusted immensely, the one I gave over $30,000 for tithing, and I was also asked to give more for charity, because charity will save me from death. Until one day in 2018, without any warning or signs, the teacher decided to quit the Kabbalah Center, and the code word was retiring. It was like a sudden breakup, or even felt like death. The teacher got a severance package, which meant I could no longer reach out for advice or support or ask questions about the Kabbalah Center. There was a secret deal made between the Kabbalah Center and the teacher. The teacher got to keep 2 students, one in which was a celebrity by association. I wasn't one of the 2. At the time, I didn't like or trust any of the other teachers, so I was left to my own devices, or like a child without a pacifier. Little by little, I began to disassociate myself from the Kabbalah Center. It took me nearly 2 years to sort my life out and stand on my own 2 feet again and drop the name Joseph. I learned to forgive, because forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could have been any different. It is accepting the reality of it did happen and moving on. Oprah Winfrey. I am not here to tell you who or what to believe. I am not here to discount the value of the wisdom itself, but somehow during the existence of the Kabbalah Center, the teachers, the wisdom, and the teaching got contaminated. I am Sam West, and this is my story.